yes, the TF2 sniper. Everyone hates him. Except for the people that play him, at least. I mean, I understand the hate. The Luxman. And the sniper rifle. Enough said. No one likes getting their health bar deleted. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit off topic here. This is, of course, an Elden Ring challenge run video. And for this run, watch as I take this crazed Australian gunman through Elden Ring from start to finish. Now before the run starts, I just want to point out one minor thing. I tried my best trying to make the face of the sniper. From the front side it looks kinda fine, but there's a lot to be desired when you look at a side profile.
G'day.
So when you look at the in-game character while the run is going, if he looks kinda weird, you probably know why now. Alright, now it's time to start the run. This is War Night Gamer 4, and make sure to sit back, relax, watch and or listen as I go through Elden Ring as the TF2 sniper. Now it's time to enter Elden Ring for the gajillionth time. Time to get my horse before I was rudely interrupted. This guy turtling behind his shield has 0 riz.
What the bloody hell just...
Truly some maidenless behavior. And after just resetting the grace, I get my horse. And now it's off with me to get a weapon. And the weapon I chose for this run right now requires me to go to Castle Morn in the Weeping Peninsula. I'm here for the Misbegotten Bow, but unfortunately I have no weapon in order to farm it right now. What to do? Ah, I forgot about you, fortified compound bow. So what I need now is the 2 medallion pieces, just so I can reach the mid part of Mount Gilmer in order to get the pulley bow.
She's a beaut.
And with the Santa merchant here providing all the arrows I need right now, it's time for me to farm with this clearly superior bow for an okay tier bow. In order to get the Misbegotten short bow, I need to hunt down these flying Misbegottens. They are the ones that currently have it equipped, and they are the weakest ones right now I can deal with. Shooting them down isn't much of a problem.
Too bloody easy.
But having to go up the elevator, sneak right through the courtyard, go up this unfortunately long ladder, and having to deal with this Misbegotten that's always aggroed on me is pretty repetitive.
See you in 5 minutes.
After a few more tries, I went to go get a talisman that increases my arrow damage, just so I can farm a bit faster. And finally, after about an hour and 30 minutes, I get the Misbegotten bow. Look at this dinky little thing. It looks kinda haphazardly made, but hey, it works out.
I reckon this'll come in handy.
With the short bow obtained, I no longer need the enlisted help of the pulley bow. And now it's off for me to go do other things that I need for the run. And what I'm farming for right now is a melee weapon. It's something that looks kind of a bit like the Shahanshah, and it is dropped by these demi-humans that have very poor eyesight. And the weapon I'm talking about, of course, is the Falchion. The TF2 wiki says that the Shahanshah is a Yatagan sword.
Now this is a knife.
But here in Elden Ring we don't have that sword, and the Falchion is the second best looking one that looks very similar to it. I'm currently happy with the loadout, but what I need now is some clothing. So it's time to farm for a hat from even more oblivious enemies. The nighttime and its benefits.
Dominate it, you blind-eyed bastard!
And after about 20 minutes I get the aristocrat hat. I'm in dire need of some pants, so into the Tombsward ruins in order to farm some pages. What I'm here for is some page trousers, but this is gonna take a while like this. In order to make this situation go a bit faster, I went to the Raya Lucario crystal tunnels in order to pick up some normal smithing stones. And at the end, just bully the crystal guy at the bottom, just so I can get the first smithing stone bow. Luckily the next one is easy to get at the sealed tunnel. It's just a small little pickup right here near the entrance. And after selling pretty much everything that I accumulated, I farm a little bit to make up for the last runes I need in order to upgrade my short bow all the way to plus 12. And this makes taking out the pages a bit more quicker. But even then, all I've been getting were perfumer bolts, a hoodie that I do not want, and a whole lot of short bows that they're not even programmed to use. But finally, after a farm time of about 25 minutes, I finally rip out the pants of one, and now I finally have some trousers to wear. I now require a shirt, but that is inside of Stormveil Castle. And now what I need currently is some piss, and the cookbook I needed was not here at the Smoldering Church. Wasted my time coming here for no reason. The cookbook was actually purchased from Kale, and it allows me to make some holy water pots. It ain't piss and it doesn't provide mini crits against the target, but I'll work on that later. Luckily, the holy piss is very easy to make. You just need a bunch of sunflowers. Look at that Jaretti, working like a charm. Also took a little detour to get some fire arrows. Now it's time to fight Margit, and it looks like he's already covered in piss. Considering Margit is a bit of a slow boss, I used this opportunity to manually aim the short bow against him. Gotta get some juicy headshots for that bonus damage.
I'm gonna plant one right between your eyes, you panther!
Also throwing the occasional Giretti when I feel like it.
Giretti!
The pots barely do any damage to the boss's health, but it's the emotional damage that counts. I have a question, how did that miss? I guess I just nicked him in the ear there. And finally, after an arrow shot to the face, Margit goes down. Headshotting him was actually pretty easy. Good thing he had a massive head. Now I need my shirt, which I get from Gustak here. But if I run right through the entirety of Stormveil Castle from the entrance, he unfortunately does not open his merchant inventory. I actually had to follow his advice in order for him to turn into a vendor. But since I used the front entrance, I might as well just get the grace right before Godrick. And now I head back in order to take the side path of the castle. The one set up with Gustak's annoying traps. This knight guy here took a lot more arrows and health than needed. Also here I used a lot of fire barrels against the enemies. It leads to some pretty funny deaths. But once I finally get the grace up the tower, I can get the machetes and the bandit garb. And with that, the sniper is dressed up and ready to take on the rest of the game.
I'm ready when you are.
And in order to make the path to endgame a bit easier, I head over to Lux Ruins to fight against the demi-human queen. A huge target with luckily a big head.
All your heads look bloody 12 feet tall.
But she also has annoying hurt boxes. But finally, after enough headshots, she gets overwhelmed. I get the Ritual Sword Talisman, which boosts my attack as long as my health is full. And now it's time to fight Godrick. Because of how big he is, he's not that hard to miss, but headshots are another thing, as he loves to move his head around a lot. Also, I completely forgot that Storm Wind actually reflects the arrows back at me. Oof, almost hit me in the grippers. At this point, I was still getting used to the short bow, so I was just playing around with my target. Great, phase 2 is up, and it's time to shotgun the bow at close range. Throw a little piss for that psychological damage. And since I can, go melee on his ass.
Stab, stab, stab.
That was pretty much it for this fight. Godrick just goes down, and everything's looking pretty easy right now. But I'm pretty sure once we get into the DLC, it's gonna be anything but easy. So in order to prepare for that, I get the cookbook to make the best arrows in the game, the Stormwing arrows. Then head over to the Carrion Manor because I need a few things here. But first I have to deal with this spectral wench called Loretta, who is pretty funny to headshot because of the flinch.
Take that, bookspats!
Pretty easy takedown for some easy runes. After Loretta's defeat, I head over to Pydia in order to get a ritual pot. Then join Ronnie in her finger slaying quest, which gives me access to Celavis in order to do his quest, which is more of a just in case type of thing. Now it's time to collect a few Aeonian butterflies, going to be using that for the next boss. Then eliminate the bell-bearing hunter at the War Master shack. It's pretty amusing that I can just jump shot away from him. And as long as I dodge his initial Bluetooth sword swipe, he's pretty easy to take down at range. And my reward for that is the Bone Peddler's Bell for easy arrow making. For feathers, I can just farm them right outside of Redmane Castle. Now before I fight Radahn, there's still a few things I need to pick up, like upgrades and stuff. And it's better to do that now than later. For one, I need the cookbook for freezing pots. The idea for the freezing pot is to use it in a combination. First I throw the Holy Giretti, and then I frost them up with the freeze pot. The enemy gets covered in some very chilly piss, and they get the frost debuff, allowing me to do extra damage against them. But right now the ability to make freezing pots is limited, as the material I need in order to make them is not farmable right now. With that obtained, it's now time to level up my strength up a bit, then revisiting some areas I've been in order to pick up some better smithing stones. And while I'm here in the sealed tunnel, I might as well fight the Onyx Lord boss, which was actually pretty easy to headshot with the auto aim on. Some of his attacks made him lower his head, which made for some pretty easy hits.
This is getting too easy, mate.
I pretty much just fought this guy for the runes he provides. Now it's time for me to head off in the Celia Crystal Tunnel for even more stones. And of course die here because the Kindred of Rot are just pests to deal with. And also fight the Falling Star Beast here because it provides some very good smithing stones for me. Of course if I can actually take them down though. I'm a tad bit rusty fighting them and it's showing here. But after using a good combo of melee and ranged weaponry, Falling Star Beast goes down and I get some Smithing Stone 7 here, a whole 5 of them. Then I start farming for a bit of Stormhawk arrows, at least learning how to farm because using the explosive barrels is not a good idea.
Ah, that was rubbish.
Well, there went that loot drop. And speaking of loot drops, I need more Smithing Stones, so it's off to hunt some more Falling Star Beasts. The one right outside of Lindell was much easier to take down just because of the amount of space it gives me to work with. Because I'm fighting him in this big open field, I can just use the ranged approach and take him down with the monumentous amount of arrows I have. I didn't really get hit much during the fight, but I did do an idiot play here around the end.
That is how you do that. That's downright embarrassing.
But as long as I win, I do not care. And my reward for this is some 5 Smithing Stone 6. And now for the fully grown Fallen Star Beast at the top of Mount Gilmer. It hits like a damn truck, but at least I have space to work with here. And fighting it works very similar to the other Fallen Star Beasts. The difference is that he has a giant fuck everything laser. The best part though is that he completely misses as long as you're inside the crater. Funny how its best attack is pretty much made worthless just because of elevation difference. But if you do this, also proceed with caution because anything can happen.
Ah, that was rubbish.
No idea what happened there, but I'm alive and happy. And finally, after a good amount of time fighting, the fully grown Fallen Star Beast goes down, and my reward is some more Smithing Stone 6. Now I level up my short bow to plus 19, do a bit more farming for some Stormhawk feathers. Thankfully there's a few I can buy from Gustok. And now it's time to fight Radahn. In this fight I'm going to be summoning some help, so it's time to bring in the boys. And while Radahn is distracted, I attempt to rot him.
Get on that, mates. God save the queen.
And in doing that makes this fight go a whole lot faster. And once he crashes out and comes right back after, I use the Giretti combo for those mini crits. And from here it's pretty much an easy takedown. And with the amount of damage being done both externally and internally,
It's only gonna get worse, mate.
and one requirement for the DLC access has been completed. There was no mercy for Radahn in that fight. Well, it's time for a little refill on the golden juice. Ugh, that actually sounds horrible. Anyway, more pots for more debuffs. Now it's time to fight the Draconic Tree Sentinel, where I completely screwed up the start of the fight.
Bloody hell, you're awful.
Yep, not one of my finer moments. Just to let you know right now, this fight was actually very dumb. Who knew that the Draconic Tree Sentinel was very easy to
The
headshot?
helmet's gonna make a nice bow for your brain.
Because I didn't. But yeah, that pretty much is most of the fight. Just waiting for him to squish me and I just jump up and shoot him. He gave a lot of chances for simple damage, which is good because the jumping headshot does not 100% work in the second phase. And finally, after about 47 arrows, the Draconic Tree Sentinel is defeated. Hooray, finally at the capital, and now it's time to get a few easy runes. Tree Avatar can be pretty intimidating to fight in close quarter combat, but with the use of fire, this fight gets trivialized. Now it's time to do some much needed upgrades to my Falchion. I've been a bit neglectful to it so far in the run. And now it's time to fight Goldshade Godfrey, which of course jumping away from him and shooting is the name of the plan. A tad too easy to do, so I decided to go into melee for a bit.
The old chop chop.
I need to make sure to use my sword at least once in a while. I was doing some insane amount of pressure if I was able to stagger him with some arrows.
Piece of piece.
And finally, Goldshade Godfrey is defeated. I get the final talisman pouch. And now it's time to pay Patches a little visit, but before that I have to deal with the invader here, which resembled more of a red pincushion after I was done with him.
Thanks for standing still, wanker.
And for Patches, I'm pretty sure you know what happened to the Chrome Dome. At least he's still coherent to sell Margit Shackle to me. Next up, after missing a very easy headshot, I get the Arrows Reach Talisman in order to increase the range of my arrows, which is actually very helpful because this is the short bow with the lowest range in the game. And after patiently dealing with another turtle boy here, I deal with the knight right after that exhibits the same maidenless behavior.
Bloody piker.
And the reason I'm here is for the Starscourge Heirloom to increase my strength by 5. Also, I level up my strength up a bit. And now it's time to fight against King Morgott. For Morgott's fight, just bring out the shackle in order to bring in the Giretti. Oh, but the sniper ain't done right now. It's time to bring in a barrage of arrows. Didn't do a lot of damage as much as I wanted it to have done, but Morgott's psyche right now is in shambles. I'm just tickling him with barrage at this point. Not gonna lie, it's some pretty mean tickles though. It's not very cost effective, but it's done its job because I'm on phase 2 now.
Keep you up in that big mouth while it's still attached to your bloody bogan!
Here in phase 2 is just a whole lot of rolling pot shots. And when the occasion occurs, some jump shots. First phase was pretty fast, but now second phase is pretty slow. And just like the fight against Margit, Morgott has a sliver of health and I just take him out. With Morgott's defeat, I now have access to the mountaintop of the giants. And that means a third smithing stone bell is available. Also, I went into the Sage's Cave again in order to get the Black Hood. Oh yeah, new hat acquired. And now I believe it's time to do Vare's quest. Don't want to take the long way to Mogwyn's palace, so I'm doing it this way. It's easier to just invade an NPC and get a bit of blood, just to reach this endgame area. Also one of the best areas for rune farming. Everyone knows it. And in order to effectively do that, I head into the abandoned cave, then arrow the clean rot twins down. The melee one was pretty easy to take down, but this other one that spans projectiles was not. With how the knight moves her body, I can't land a hit to save my life.
Hold still, you prancing show ponies!
So it's time to fight her in close range because it's easier to hit her that way. With that, I get the golden scarab and now I have no problems with runes. While the money problem has been resolved, there is still a few things to do, which means I have to go into Castle Sol, and this place is as fun as ever. Thankfully the run for the elevator shortcut went smoothly. Now all I need to do here is defeat Commander Niall, but first I have to deal with his spirits. And the spirit takedown was going pretty smoothly until the commander had to ruin the fun.
You bloody parkers!
But once this fight turned into a 1v1, Niall was pretty much done. With him being quite the slow boy, I was able to constantly headshot him. Him also having a pretty big noggin helps out a lot. Also the fact that he tried to jump on me for pretty much the entirety of the fight really helped. Took a lot of arrows, but hey, can't complain. It was an easy battle.
Get you, you pot-bellied lard ass!
With that done, I get one half of the secret medallion. The other half is very easy to get at the village of the Albinarchs. And now I can freely use the freezing pots. Pretty much just went to the consecrated snowfield right now just for this. Now I level up my health to 40. All that's left to do now before the next boss is to fight Eleonora. Thankfully her attacks are pretty much just tickling me. All I really have to look out for is the bleeding. Now pretty much every NPC fight from now till I stop using the short bow is gonna be like this. Sniper waiting for an attack so I can jump and shoot.
You're making this so easy, I'm actually getting worse.
And with Eleonora defeated, I get the purifying crystals here. Also forgot one more little thing, which is Mohg's shackle inside of the sewers. And now I have everything I need in order to fight Mohg. Yep, just gotta beat him and more suffering waits ahead. And just like how I've done it with Morgott, I bring him down to give him the old Girardi special. Except this time I needed 2 freezing pots in order to trigger the frost effect. Unfortunately I did not capitalize a lot on the mini crits. It's just time to do the good old same old here. Just keep attacking while I'm backpedaling with my jumps. And as much as I would love to do damage from afar, I unfortunately have to stay close in order to deal the most damage I can. Not much has changed except I have to dodge a bit more.
Let's see how much blood's in you.
And I started to use some blood arrows to make this fight go a bit faster. Also here is just when I figured out the best way to attack with the short bow, which is a jump arrow and then another press of the attack button in order to follow up with another arrow. It does a bit less damage compared to normally shooting the bow, but it does a lot more damage than 2 Asher War Barrage hits. And also the fact that I can continue keeping my distance while doing this. I think this is the proper way of using this light bow, or light bows in general. This fight took only about 6 minutes, but it went pretty well. Just a bit of a slow fight as always. Well then, now that Mohg's been defeated, it's time to head into the DLC. And that means it's time to collect Scadutree fragments. Also gotta make sure to prepare the areas for later visit. Might as well open all the shortcuts now so it's easier for me to get through the next time I'm here. Collecting the Scadutree fragments was easy, except for a few hiccups here and there.
Some shonky business.
You know, going through these areas reminded me that there's a lot of long elevators in the DLC. Also here in the DLC, there's new talismans for the sniper to use. such as the Arrow Soaring Sting Talisman, which replaces the Reach Talisman. Got the Silver Scarab for item discovery, and now that I have items that boost item discovery, it's now the perfect time to start farming for some Stormhawk feathers. And by baiting the enemies to me, it made the repetition of farming a bit faster. Still hate the pretty low drop rate though. Before I start fighting any of the main DLC bosses, I went back to the base game to get some upgrade materials, which of course requires me to go to the Yellow Annex Tunnel, where there is a plethora of high tier normal smithing stones. Just gotta make sure I'm careful with the enemies because they hurt a lot. It's a very good thing that they're hostile at each other sometimes.
Give him a gobful!
If I'm not too careful here, even the rocks are capable of taking me down. And now for the last smithing stones that I require, I go to the Fort of Reprimand, and right near the Grace up a ladder, right next to the Omen, there's a chest that gives me the last smithing stones that I need. And now my Misbegotten Shortbow is at plus 25. Now it's time to finish up DLC exploration by getting a few things that I need. I need that secret red scroll for an NPC later. Nope, that did not happen. I totally did not just fail a simple jump there. No idea what you're talking about.
That was rubbish.
And now the last thing to do in the Shadow Keep is to get the Grace right before the main boss. Yeah, because I do not want to fight the guard, I just get him stuck at the stairs right there. And now with that Grace obtained, it's time to head right into the Tower Settlement. And as long as you know how to run through the enemies, this run is pretty easy. I also pick up whatever Scadutree fragments that are here. Also, the golem birds here had no chance of surviving. They are very weak to flying pointy sticks. They're also weak to the holy Jaretti. Look at that high intensity damage. And now after taking care of anything else that gets in the way, or sneaking right through the more annoying enemies, I have now reached the top of the Tower Settlement. Also, I went and got some more ritual pots to help me in my fights. Gotta make sure I have enough for the Jaretti combo. Also went and fought the Furnace Golem that drops a very good crystal tier that I need. This fight required a lot of whacking with the Shahanshan.
Ready to meet Sharpie?
And thankfully once the Furnace Golem goes down, there's a lot of damage to be done. 9 minutes of fighting just one golem. Damn, that is slow. But at least it's finally done for and I get the blood-sucking crack tier. It makes me lose health for a period of time, but it gives me that juicy bonus damage. Picked out the last sacred tears that I was missing for my flask potency. And now it's time to eliminate the Divine Beast dancing line. I'm taking this guy down first because I want his head and his boss item. Because of the Divine Beast positioning of the head, it was very simple to get headshots.
Piss off, big head!
Also, the Jaretti combo was actually pretty easy to pull off. The only problem I have was keeping my health up to actually take advantage of the bonus damage. Can't have fun with the mini crits if I'm dead now, can I? Also because of the blood-sucking cracks here, I cut it really close there. Now I wouldn't say this fight was easy, but I would say it was pretty simple. Just kept a moderate distance and made sure to shoot my arrows when I can.
Bloody hell, you're awful! Barely broke a sweat.
A lot of repetitive action, but that was pretty much most of the fight. With the Divine Beast defeated, I now wear its head, buy some kukri, even though I can't use it as a melee weapon, and then get the Enraged Divine Beast Talisman. With this and the headpiece, it provides extra damage to items that have Storm in the name. And because the Stormwing Bone Arrow has Storm in its name, I get a 17% increase of damage because of the 2 item pieces. 7% from the helm and 10% from the talisman. Now I level up my health a bit for this next fight. And it's everyone's favorite bull rider with the bullshit attack, Gaius. Even with all the Scadutree fragments I've collected, which is 12 at the time, he still hits like a damn freight train. It doesn't help that he's somewhat annoying to dodge as well. But after all those deaths, I now realize what's really getting me killed. My own dodging skill, of course, is part of the problem, but the main problem is the blood-sucking crack tier. Because it's sapping my health away, it's giving me some unwanted stress. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do for that extra bonus damage. Also, I should probably just stop sucking at dodging. And unlike in the other attempts, in this attempt, I just have to stick very close to him. Doing this makes the boss less likely to charge me, and if he does, it's just a simple dodge to get away. On a per hit basis right now, the Stormwing arrows with the bow is actually doing some pretty good damage. In the difference between phase 1 and 2, there really isn't much of a difference, for me at least. I just stuck close to him and he didn't really do much with his gravity attacks. Yep, no health pots and a whole lot of dodging.
I slept in the corpse of water buffalo tougher than you.
Funny how the winning strategy was just sticking to his ass the entire time. You know, the complete opposite of what a sniper wants to do. And now with Commander Gaius defeated, I get more Scadutree fragments. Also steal the sharp shot talisman here from his little house.
Alright!
And this bad boy allows me to do extra arrow damage as long as I'm manually aiming my bow. Now I believe it's time to pay a visit to Rellana. I did not fight her in the previous challenge run because I completely forgot she existed. Funny how I completely forgot the one boss in the middle of the entire map of the DLC. Well, this time I won't, and she killed me. The second attempt was a damn close victory until I screwed up. And I don't even want to talk about the third attempt. I have no idea what I tried to do there. So to start the fight, I throw the Dready at her, then I froze her right up. And this gave me a nice little bit of bonus damage against her. I should really be manually aiming my shots in order to do extra damage with the sharp shot talisman, but holy moly, she loves to move a lot. She moves like damn Scout, but she has significantly more health.
Oh, what's up now?
It took me a little bit to get used to the on-the-fly manual aiming, but I think a good combination of both auto and manual aiming is fine, especially against Rellana and her happy feet.
That'll slow you down, you twitchy hooligan.
And now whenever she brings out the twin moons, it's the perfect time to do some damage. And after I find a little damage exchange, Rellana goes down. Great, all I get from this is runes. Now off to do some finger ruin stuff, which of course requires me to have the old mother gesture, just so I can gain access to the second finger ruin, where I proceeded to get rudely stopped, and got very close to getting grabbed. Luckily the geometry of this location saved me, and also prevented me from getting vomited on. Now it's time to blow into the giant hollow finger of Finger Ruin 2, and also the one at Finger Ruin 1. And after exhausting all dialogue with the NPC, we can now have access to the boss of the area. But it's not as simple as just fighting a boss, gotta fight an invader first. And due to the lack of location awareness, I ended up killing myself in this fight. In the second round, I have no idea why, but I struggled a lot fighting the invader. Yeah, no, this is dumb. It's time to bring out the sword.
This is not
It's time to give her the old chop chop.
stabbing time.
Whoops, that's a backstab. There we go, that's a proper chop chop. I have no idea why I struggled that time around. The first time went smoothly. Oh well, best not to think about it. Right now, the best plan to do is to refill everything at the Grace. The fight took a lot of resources, but I'm ready again. And now it's time to find Metyr, the mother of all fingers. And due to her slowness, this is pretty much the fight.
Standing around like a bloody idiot.
Even her little spawn are not safe from my attacks. You're just too slow to get to me. With the boss's weak spot being right in front, it makes it very easy to hit it. And these Stormwing arrows are doing some very good damage. The fight doesn't really change much in the second phase, except I have to be careful with the giant lasers. And just because I have enough flasks, I just tank right through it. Yep, nothing like tanking a huge laser to the face. I pretty much did all that until Metyr is defeated.
Barely broke a sweat.
And with that, another DLC boss has been eliminated. And now it's time to scale a mountain. But first we interact with a poor sod here. Then eliminate this other poor sod here that's running around with scaly suits. And after leveling up various attributes, it's time for round 2 against Ancient Dragon Man. And boy oh boy does he have an insane amount of health for just being an NPC. Good thing the great katana he's currently using makes it very easy to headshot him. If he tries to jump attack me, I'll just jump attack back with a headshot. And also I can't forget that juicy follow-up. This whole battle was just ring around a rosy the entire arena. Great, the enemy has been defeated and now it's time to fight another enemy. And this time around it's the Jagged Peak Drake because I want to fight Bayle with Egon. And in order to do that I have to eliminate the dragon that has the boss health bar. Thankfully there's another dragon running a distraction against him while fighting. Pretty much just taking advantage of the whole situation here.
You big-head wankers!
I do have to be careful though because fire hurts a lot.
Fire! Fire!
I'm actually quite surprised I survived that. After the helper dragon got eliminated, he was pretty much almost near death, and I just finished him off here. Big scary dragon down. Now it's time to talk to Egon so he can give me his finger.
Thanks, mate.
Quite a disgusting thing to give. And now up the jagged peak I go. Never realized that I can actually see my face under this entire helmet. And damn, do I look scary. And now it's time to fight Bayle with the help of Egon. Do I actually need his help? No, not really. But sometimes it's just fun to add a little bit of spice in these boss fights. And with Egon just screaming death threats to Bayle, it's music to my ears. But unfortunately for me in my first attempt, the attack that Bayle uses and that I hate the most eliminates me. Second time around, he decided to just phase right through the wall, which screwed up my timing for a dodge. And third time, it's that attack again. Thankfully, hitting Bayle's head is not that difficult. I mean, the lock-on is on his head. The only difficult thing I have to do is time my shots right. And also make sure to dodge the fire. And while Egon is a pretty good distraction, there's only so much he can do. Well, he at least debuffs the boss. Also, we hit him fast enough to break his stance, and that gave a very good opportunity for damage.
Thanks for standing still, wanker.
The Fire Strike Airstrike came out, but thankfully not on me this time, even though I did take the initial hit. And in the closing act against Bayle, I got my kill stolen.
Appreciate it, mate.
Egon, you KSing bastard. You're lucky I like you. And now with the jagged peak conquered, I believe it's now a good time to fight a flower. Just minding my own business towards the boss, and next thing you know I get rocked by some firebolts. There's never peace in this place. Now then, for the Scadutree Avatar. And because I have fire arrows, this is going to be a cakewalk of a fight. With the tree avatar's weakness to fire, oof, this first phase goes very quickly. And the same thing happens in the second phase. Even though he tries to rush me down, just making those quick pot shots. Nothing really changes much in the fight, except all I have to do now is wait a bit longer when he does his double swipes. Great, he's down. Have a ready to the face. During the fight I realized I am not doing as much damage as I could, and I swapped real quickly a talisman in the fight. And in the third phase, nothing really changes, just deleting him with fire arrows. And now finally in the third phase, he goes down. Continuing the boss rush, it's time to fight Romina, the Saint of the Bud. But here I kept on dying, and dying, and dying. Nope. Nah, that's a big old nah. I've had enough of getting comboed to death. And I also had enough of needing to manually aim my bow, or have to time my shots right in order to hit the boss. And after dying countless of times, this is the final straw. I'm going to become a cheater. You see this sniper bot? Yep, that is going to be me. Now I bet you're wondering how I'm going to do that in Elden Ring, and the answer is actually quite simple. Now I don't need to do it this way, but the ammo for the weapon is in this path. Pretty much from the hermit village, I make my way down the little cliff. I fall down onto the rise and get the spell mechanics bell bearing. And dropping further down, I get Rabaf's cannon. Rabaf, whichever one is the correct pronunciation. And what this cannon does is that it shoots out ballista shots that home onto the target. As long as I'm locked on, the ballista homes onto the enemy. This thing is meant to be used with Rabaf's Great Bolt. This thing is pretty much an auto-targeting, explosive magical sniper. And in that little display of power, it was completely unupgraded. And since this uses somber smithing stones for upgrades, I already have everything I need to put it to +10. I currently won't be needing this Divine Beast head anymore. Psyche is still needed for a few things in order to get the weapon rolling. And that requires me to take out the Godskin Duo here in Volcano Manor. Just so I can start farming for the Black Dumpling headgear. Took 20 minutes to farm for that armor piece, but there we go, I finally have it. This increases my attack damage if there's a Frenzied proc near me. And now I need the bleed version, and that means I need to take out the Priest of Blood here in the sewers. Actually this is the catacombs, but it's right next to the sewers. Here I get the Lord of Blood's exaltation, chill on the mountaintops until I get to Asha War Seppuku. Next up, I head into the Darkness Catacombs in order to get more Frenzied stuff. But those types of things are right after the Catacombs, and that means I have to take out Jory, the Elder Inquisitor. Fortunately, pretty easy to damage with the light bow. But that's till he starts spawning a bunch of his butt buddies. And at that point, I pretty much just swap to melee and start to backstab him. His chop is going right through. In doing that strategy, I actually lost a lot of health, but I was able to finish the boss off at the sacrifice of my own life. The next item I need is in the next area from this hostile NPC, and that's for the Maddening Hand, which pretty much has the same effect as the Black Dumpling. Next on the to-do list, I have to eliminate a specific ancient one, which I completely failed to parry, and the result of that here is pretty obvious. And second time's the charm. I totally did not cut off an extra 5 failed attempts to do this. And finally, after the parry, is an easy elimination with the Chop Chop, and as a reward I get the Aged One's Exaltation. And it works the same as the other frenzy things that I've obtained. And since I'm here in the Abyssal Woods, I might as well get the Midra Man's Grace. Head into the well of the Tower Settlement. Eliminate a Horned Warrior that's in the way. To get the Poison Hand, which increases damage whenever poison occurs near me. Then fight Kindred of Rod in the base game in the Seawater Cave in order to get the Kindred of Rod Exaltation. Does the same thing as the Poison Hand. Fight my own clone, which just loved to stab itself for some reason. Like seriously, my clone needs some help. Next then we get the Finger Slayer Blade in order to take the shortcut at Rena's Rise. In order to reach the Leg of Rod, where I need to head from one side to the other, just so I can pick up the Mushroom Crown. I also got the Surgeon's Mask off screen, aka I completely forgot to record the NPC Invader fight before Mohg, just because I was doing boring stuff like farming for runes so I wouldn't take up space in the hard drive. But yeah, anyway I got it. Does the same thing as the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. Get the Golden Order Incantation, the Haligtree Brewery as well. Fight the Crystal Bastards in the main game in order to get Terra Magica. And if you're wondering how I'm going to be using the spells I obtained, early in the run, I've been secretly leveling up Intelligence and Faith. Did that as well as obtaining the Magic Shroud and Crack tier. So yes, this was actually planned for quite a bit. There's still a few other things I collected like raw meat dumplings, and made a lot of curing boluses for poison, but those are just minor things. If I run out of dumplings, that's fine, I can just make fetid pots. So for now I'm going to be using every buff available except for bleed. And once I get into the boss arena, I should have 2 shots, because the boss was actually far enough for 2 shots. The only problem I had is that the second shot would always get me hit. But it don't matter because it made her go right into the second phase. From here on out I had to do some risky shots in order to deal damage. But thankfully because of the aimbot, I don't have to focus on aiming anymore. My shots just go right through the air, making sure to hit whatever I want it to hit. It's actually pretty awesome how well the heat-seeking ability of the cannon works. Just gotta make sure that I shoot while I'm locked on, then go into manual aim in order to get the bonus damage with the talisman. Funny how the sharp shot talisman bonus damage still works, even though I'm not doing much of the work anymore. And after finishing Romina here with 2 last shots, she is defeated.
Nobody's gonna miss you, you mutant.
And now to balance out the cheating here and to show that I'm a very good boy, I use the Commoner's Headband as the Cheater's Lament. There you go, it's all balanced now. No problem at all, it's all fair guys.
Sniping's a good job, mate.
I'm totally not using an aimbot sniper rifle for my victories. Speaking of dubs, it's time to get another one. So into the Stone Coffin Fissure I go and delete everything in sight. Like seriously, sometimes there isn't even an explosion from Rabav's bolt. It just hits too damn hard. Or maybe just the animation ain't happening. Yeah, looks about right.
One sniper to another, mate. Give up.
And after making sure that any of my pursuers are eliminated,
That's some shonky business right there.
trigger the boss, which probably was not a good idea to do here. Then die 2 times due to greediness. Then again, I kinda blame the fire that lasts a little too long. I fall using this side of the arena entrance. Then use up whatever buffs I can down here for a very strong start.
God save the Queen.
Had some 2 big old chunky hits. And now unfortunately he did not give any good opportunities for any follow-up attacks. Heck, most of the time he was just boomeranging his weapon at me. And whatever hits I could get would usually be an exchange of blows. At least the damage trading was kind of efficient. Here at the end, he decided to fly up in the air again, but I had enough and I just shot him down. I ended up dying, but whatever, he's dead and I still got the rewards. Great, now it's time to lose myself in the nectar of St. Trina. This is for a side quest later. And now it's time to go through Midra's Manse. Here, because of how the boss fight works, I decided to just use the good old-fashioned loadout. The good old huntsman loadout I started out with. Besides, Midra's a pretty easy boss to take down at range. He usually just slow walks at you, so he's very easy to hit.
You big-head wanker!
The only thing I have to be careful for is any sneaky attacks he might do. And in phase 2, pretty much nothing changes at all. Just keep my distance and shoot him. Pretty much if I'm far away enough, he can't really hurt me at all, even with his insanity laser. And yeah, that was pretty much the fight. You see everyone, sometimes there's no need to cheat. The only problem I really had in my previous 2 attempts was Midra shooting me down while I was trying to reload Rabath's cannon. That thing hits pretty hard, but it's quite a slow boy. And with Midra gone, I level up my health and endurance. Now it's time to take the final steps of the DLC, but in order to do that, I have to take care of Messmer. Because of how slow this explosive sniper is, one bad grab is all that is needed to end me. So in order to make victory a bit more easy to achieve, I decided to add a bleed into my buff routine. And after all that buffing, it's time to fight Messmer again. And oof, look at that damage. 2 shots in and he's almost half health. And I'm almost dead. From here I just needed 2 more hits to make Messmer go down into the second phase. And from here on out, I pray that I don't get grabbed. This victory attempt was just a lot of waiting for him to do specific attacks at the right opportunity. I also have to make sure that I'm at the perfect distance. Because if not, this would happen. And damn does it hit hard. Luckily I'm taking no more dot damage from the blood-sucking cracked tear, so I can calm down that stress a bit. Now it's time to shoot and take some risks. And finally, after a pretty long second phase, Messmer goes down.
And snuffed your fire, you snake!
And oof, I completely forgot about the horn scent guy again. Well, it doesn't really matter, it just makes a bit of things tougher at the end. Anyways, it's time to do Fiolier's quest with St. Trina. And after incredibly bullying Fiolier to the maximum, like if I have good distance, this thing is just gonna auto hit pretty much.
I feel like gonna be open casket.
He goes down and I pretty much confirm that I finished his quest. Then at the Shadow Keep, give Ansbach the secret right scroll. And after that, I just help him deal with Loretta. And after getting on top of these stone records, it made me feel like a 2-fort sniper right now.
Hate to break it to you, but your own team paid me to do that.
Yeah, even though Loretta has a lot of health to deal with, she was pretty screwed here. With Ansbach running a good distraction, her victory was pretty much unachievable at all, to the max. After helping the NPCs that I can buddy up with in a later fight, it's now time to head over to the final part of the DLC, Enter Limb. Great, I love this place. Good thing this aimbot sniper just takes care of all my problems. Yep, even if it's a target that's far away, it's gone. Especially these spamming spiral guys. Screw them particularly. Just gave him the old sniper special. Actually, that last one is more of a soldier special. And now anything else that gets in my way, deleted. Birdie boys, deleted. Guy by the staircase longing for better times, deleted. This intimidating frost-sense warrior guy, deleted. And also the wind guy at the end, gone. And now it's time for NPC battling. Hornsnet was a pretty easy takedown even though he did dodge my aimbot sniper. Look at this guy running bonk. Good thing he's just as weak as a scout, at least compared to these other guys.
Spastic little gremlin.
I am Ansbach of the
Ansbach, I know you just spawned, but help me out, why don't ya?
blood of fire.
There's no doubt that Ansbach can beat Dryleaf Dane, but with how things are going right now, Fiolier needs some help. And after using up all my ammo for my aimbot sniper, it's time to get up close and personal.
Chop chop.
Phenomenal. Fiolier is down, and now this is turned into a 2v2.
You best keep lying there.
It took all my health flask, but Loretta is finally down. And with Dryleaf Dane pretty much almost dead, I finish him off. And there we go, the NPC Showdown has been completed.
You got blood on my knife, mate.
Didn't think I was gonna run out of sniper ammo, but whatever, it worked out at the end. Now it's time to deal with the biggest pain in the ass in the game, and that is DLC Radahn. Look at him with that cool pose. Still disappointed though that he's the final boss of the DLC, and because of that disappointment, I wanted to do something special in this fight. For that fight, I pretty much just used a whole lot of distance for my advantage. But before that, in my first attempt, I decided to just fight him with the Rabat cannon, and that health down there is pretty much how far I got him to. Pretty good if you ask me. So the plan is to buff myself at the beginning, and hope to not die as well, because Radahn is pretty random of what he can do at the start. Most of the time, he will just dive right at me. It's a waste of resources, and I don't like that.
I'm dead.
What I want him to do is to either take his time to dive right at me, or him use his gravity attack to try to suck me towards him. And whenever I'd get to the second phase, I would run out of health flasks.
I'm dead again.
And because of that, I decided to stop using the blood-sucking crack tier, as it caused too many problems, and a lot of my deaths. It's sad to see that bonus damage go away, but as long as I survive long enough, it's all fine. So at the very start against Radahn, I pretty much just used the aimbot sniper for the first phase.
Thanks for standing still, wanker.
And here in the beginning, he was actually being pretty merciful,
Ran like a bloody
allowing me to hit him with 2 heavy damage shots. And now for the rest of phase 1 is just trying to find good opportunities to shoot him. And it's usually the best time whenever he tries to do his gravity suck. Nearing phase 2, I pretty much just swapped to what is essentially my huntsman bow, in order to just bring down his health and get ready for phase 2.
I was about to call it a day.
Because here in phase 2, it is time to reintroduce rot into Radahn's body. And holy moly, it actually took a lot of arrows to actually re-rot him. Consort Radahn phase 2 is very resistant to the rot. I had to inflict 750 rot points to actually make him get affected. Good thing there's a good amount of Aeonian butterflies in the Lake of Rot, because without those I'm pretty sure I would have ran out in the game, and I did not want to farm for them. And finally, after 33 rot arrows, he is afflicted.
That young mongrel.
Had a close call a little bit after fighting Radahn, and I almost shat my pants losing this victory run.
Holy dooly!
Now it's time to just deal good old physical damage against Radahn with the Stormwing arrows.
Hold still, twitchy hooligan!
Well, will you look at that, he went into the air, and that means that everything is going perfectly fine. Victory is pretty much assured. But I do have to stop making some very scary mistakes.
Dominated!
But thankfully, because of the lack of blood-sucking crack tier in my physic, I still had a lot of health flasks to help me at this point. And finally, after he tried to get me with the old cheap shot, Consort Radahn is defeated.
Holy dooly! Piss off, you bloody fruit shop owners!
And with that over, I get some cool new looking headwear. And now it's time to just beat the rest of the base game. For Fire Giant, all I had to do was position myself right, and I did a lot of good damage. That was pretty much all for the first phase, just ignore everything and mindlessly shoot. Pretty much did the same thing in the second phase. Also, I broke his stance because of all the arrow spam.
All your heads look bloody 12 feet tall!
Not only that, but I gave him a few personal shots. The reason? No reason. He just had them there. And aside from him trying to use his ass to crush me, he really wanted to crush me. But the rest of the fight went by without a problem.
Thanks for being such a whopping big target, mate!
After that, I went to conquer the liturgical town, and this place was pretty much an aimbot versus aimbot battle.
Try, mate, but I'm the best!
Oof, almost died there. Next up to who I'm fighting is Haligtree Loretta. Here I went with the aimbot route because she starts pretty far away.
I'll make it look easy.
And since because of that, it's pretty easy damage, and I'm also able to stagger her after each shot.
No worries.
The fight finished with not much of a problem, except I almost nearly died there, but that's my fault for not dodging properly. Easy victory.
I told you sniping was a good job.
Well, instead I continue making my way down the Haligtree. Took a risk here, just running right through all the Kindred of Rot. And boy, that went surprisingly well. Now, I'm not going to fight Malenia currently, and that's going to be done a bit later right before the final bosses. All I'm doing now is going down here to get the Grace for later. Now it's time to tackle the Crumbling Faram Azula. And since I remember the easiest way to the boss, I just take that route. And now for the fight against the Godskin Nobles, I just buff myself up to hell and use the Huntsman loadout. Now I was doing some very good damage for each shot I was doing. It's a shame that Fatty decided to ruin the kill here.
Boy, you pot-bellied lard ass.
I was trying to take them down fast enough so that most of this fight would just be 1v1s.
You're heavy as a medic.
But unfortunately, because of how fast the buffs decay, I couldn't do that.
On fire.
So I just had to fight them in the company of their ally. And it's now fun when one decides to throw projectiles right through the other. And there we go, the Godskins have been defeated.
I just bagged the world's fattest man.
Now it's time to make the run to the Great Bridge, which actually went very smoothly. Usually here I'd either get hit by one or two Stormhawks, where the lightning blocks the path. Now it's time to take care of the Draconic Tree Sentinel that's guarding the boss Fog. The only good Draconic Tree Sentinel is a dead one.
I'm running out of places to put holes in you.
Hooray, armor that I'm not going to use. Great, now it's time to take care of Maliketh with the power of the aimbot sniper. And oof, look at that damage. It's so beautiful.
Crikey.
And to keep things spicy, here in the second phase I decided to go melee mode on him.
Enemy sharpie.
Yep, nothing like a good old fashioned curved sword beatdown.
Let's have a go, you mug.
I was doing this one-handed because I know that the sniper uses his melee weapons with only one hand. But at the time I completely forgot that the sniper actually two-hands his weapon whenever he does a crit. Going two-handed Falchion would have made this fight a bit easier, but it don't matter. Maliketh in close range leaves himself pretty vulnerable, and I take full advantage of that. And after about 3 minutes and 30 seconds of fighting, Maliketh goes down. I have now reached endgame Elden Ring. Now it's time for a quote-unquote boss fight against Gideon. And unfortunately, the poor bastard had no idea what was coming to him.
Gonna be open casket.
He's the all-knowing, but I bet he didn't know about my aimbot. And after barely leaving the boss door, Gideon is defeated. I disrespected him a lot in this fight. I have a lodge already, and I'm gonna use it. And as for a little bit later, karma hits.
Shouldn't even gone.
Completely forgot that I had the blood-sucking crack tier active, just sapping my health away. Now the next boss is Godfrey, but I'm not gonna do that right now. No, who I'm fighting next is Malenia. And for this fight, I wanted to go pretty much the same way how it went with Consort Radahn. So for the first phase, I shoot her down with the aimbot sniper.
I told you sniping was a
And
good
here I
job.
learned in this fight that the magical great bolts curve actually pretty aggressively. Now I love the aimbot of the projectile. Now all I have to do is survive this waterfall dance.
I'll make it look easy.
And after that, the rest of the first phase was a cakewalk.
No worries.
The curve that it's doing reminds me a lot of the Truth exotic rocket from Destiny. Well, that's pretty much it for this weapon for the first phase. Now I bring her to the second phase with the short bow.
Let's have a go, you mug.
And now it's time to bring the utmost disrespect by rotting Malenia. Indeed, I want the goddess of rot to die from rot.
When I get you that time, the liver, the kidney, I'm losing track.
But even with the constant rod and arrow shooting I'm doing, it is not an easy task. At least according to the wiki, there is about 1,500 rot that I have to inflict in order to actually rot her. But luckily for me, I saved up enough arrows to do that. It's just gonna take a little pretty bit. The rod arrows don't really do that much damage, so there really isn't much of a fear of accidentally killing her before the rot takes effect.
Thanks for standing still.
And finally, after 5 minutes into the second phase, I inflict her. Now it's time to do maximum damage with the Stormwing arrows. It didn't really take that long for the rot to finish her off.
Nice try, mate, but I'm the best.
Oh, then I tried to throw a Giretti, but instead I was scratching my ass and Malenia has been defeated.
This is getting embarrassing.
Great, now it's time for Godfrey.
Thanks for being such a whopping big
And that was Godfrey's first phase. That first phase would have gone a bit faster if there wasn't two little hiccups. One, if he didn't spawn far away, and two, whatever this is. I feel like that should not have hit me. And now here in the horror low phase, I just gotta capitalize on this one attack. Probably the best and semi-safest time to do damage, especially with how slow Rabath's cannon is. Took a little while, but finally Godfrey goes down. And with that, I now have access to the final boss. But before that, I finally upgrade my Falchion again, all the way to plus 24. And finally, after buffing myself, even though I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose all these buffs the instant I get into the boss arena, I go to the fog wall that takes bloody long to get through. And now it's time to fight Radahn. And to start off, I just shot him one time, and went right into melee mode against him.
I'm gonna carve you a new cake out.
Sometimes all you need is just a good old chop chop. Oh, and can't forget the Giretti. Damn, during the entire debuff duration I just screwed up.
That's some shonky business right there.
You know, throughout this entire fight there was no stance break. But I guess it don't matter, as long as Radahnn's been defeated.
Take that, you two-faced mongrel.
Did lose a lot of health flasks though because of bad dodging and blood-sucking cracked here. And now it's time to finish the game and fight the Elden Beast. Decided to continue sticking with melee on this one because he's, well, the most weak to it. Tried shooting the Elden Beast with the aimbot sniper, but that didn't do a lot of damage as much as I wanted it to do. So it's time to continue using that cold hard steel. Sometimes that's all you need to slay a beast, especially a godly one like this. And with Torrent by my side, helping me escape any problems he might throw at me, especially the Elden Stars. This fight went very smoothly even though I didn't have a lot of flasks. There was no mercy given in this battle at all.
That's right, mate. You'll just die tired.
Nope, you are not running away, Elden Beast. And with that, the Elden Beast goes down and I have beaten the game as the TF2 Sniper.
And that is how it's done.
Well, the botted TF2 Sniper. Great, now it's time to end things off here. I'm going to keep the outro short here. This was a pretty fun run. I had an absolute blast doing this one, even though it did take about like 35 hours to complete, and kind of around the same time to edit as well. But with all the DLC, farming, and failures, I think that's reasonable. But thankfully there was not a lot of hiccups in this challenge run. But I'm glad that I've done this, and if you guys have gotten to this point, I'm glad that you guys watched it to this point. Well then, this has been War Night Gamer 4, and make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the bell notification for alerts whenever I post something new. And thank you for watching this video, and my previous videos if you have as well. Ciao. Oh, and also, Happy New Year's to everyone.